Owen, they needed the superstars to come on that much in some way be a consolation for you tonight?
Well, I think when we analyse the game, I think we know we've performed very well in the game, and I'd probably suggest on another day you might have another crack at the in terms of a replay. I thought we were outstanding. We're going to have to be. I mean, the quality they have is there for everyone to see. The pace, the power, and you're going to have to work ever so hard for the duration of the game to cope with that. And we obviously got ourselves to a great start with a wonderful goal, a real team goal, which we've shown all season that we can pass and move the ball. But again, we always knew we were going to have to withstand pressure at different times. And obviously we've been caught on the counter-attack, which they do. I mean, listen, you play at Manchester United for a number of reasons. One, you have technical ability, and the other one's that you have pace and power. And that's why people are worth the transfer fees they are, because you will have players in the Championship with similar technical ability, but they don't have the pace and power that these boys possess. And when the Martials and Rashfords and these boys start running at you, then you know there's always going to be trouble. That being said, for the most part we cope with it, and even then when we found ourselves at one each, we still had opportunities to get in front again. So I think the performance level today was of a high calibre, and to your point, yes, the introduction of Ibrahimovic, Pogba, Mata at the end, just to try and see the game out, shows you the respect that they've shown us today. And I mean, I had 10 minutes with Jose before the game, we were having a good chat, and he'd said that he'd watched a number of our games, and you know, we have actually been, since the turn of the year, actually been playing quite well. A number of things that went against us the other night at Sheffield Wednesday was an absolute travesty for what we put into the game. So we know if we can perform at that level, when all said and done, our cup final's now starting Friday at Burton, and we performed very well today, and I've got to thank the fans who were outstanding today from the first whistle to the last. And when they generate that atmosphere at Ewood, the players really respond to it. So we go to Burton, then we come out with that with 3 big home games to come. So there's points that for us to elevate ourselves to safety. And days like today help you to do that, because they should have belief and character, and certainly the spirit they showed again. We looked as if Emnes had scored the equaliser late on, Stokes put it in, and he's in an offside position, except that Mulgrew had scored prior to that as well. Something I need to look back at. But how we went about it today, I think was a credit to every one of those players. They brought in, to your point, Peter, Ibrahimovic and Pogba, and I brought the 2 kids in for the academy, and Mahoney and Tomlinson. And I've got to say, I thought the 2 of them were brilliant. Mahoney is going to be a very, very good player. Started during the week at Sheffield Wednesday. Tomlinson, I think that was his debut today. But we'd no fear about putting them in. We certainly believe in the quality that we're bringing through at this club, and those players will help to have a good career as they move forward.
People will wonder why on earth they're in the bottom 3 having watched that game.
I think the biggest single reason was we had a terrible start at the outset of the season. I mean, I think anybody that watches us will know that we can pass and move the ball as well as anybody. We can create chances, we can score goals, but there's no getting away from it. Defensively, we need to do better. There's no doubt about that, and that's for a number of reasons. Listen, we lost 2 centre-backs, probably 2 of the best centre-backs in the Championship at the start of the season, and Duffy and Hanley, and of course if you had them, you wonder where you actually would be in the Championship, because we're not a coat of paint from being a very good team. That being said, what we've got to focus on is there's 15 games to come, starting at Burton, moving into 3 home games thereafter, and if we perform at that level as we have been doing, because I say we've been playing quite well, then we'll gather enough points to get ourselves to safety, and at that point, that's then when we need that little bit of investment at the right time to then kick on this club. And but the most important thing prior to that is making sure we get that platform of stability, and that's getting ourselves out of trouble, which we'll look to do.
I know they're in that dressing room, they've lost tonight, but what does that performance do for confidence levels?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. I mean, there's so much merit in the question, and it follows on from the other night at Sheffield Wednesday, when we went and outperformed Sheffield Wednesday. We're the better team in the night, scored 3 goals in the game, but we're only rewarded with 1. And then again today we're decimated by injury and suspension because of the game the other night. But what it did do, to your point, was give them a lot of belief that, you know what, we are on a decent side. And then today I think it'll be the same. That'll just add on to that. An important bit now is putting it into practice in the Championship games, and that starts on Friday night.
What did Jose say to you after the game? We saw him clap the goal that he scored with the move with
Yeah, well listen, he's a wonderful footballing man, we all know that, and as we all do, we appreciate good football. I mean, I watched some of the Manchester United stuff as I did the other night, and you know, it's just it's horrible as it is when they do it against your team. It's fantastic to see because of the quality they have. I mean, he said prior to the game he'd been complimentary about it, so at full time he just felt, and again it's always nice when you've won games and you don't have to say it, but he did, that he certainly felt we're worthy of probably having another go at it. He thought we performed really well, so that's always nice. But the important thing is that, nice words are what they are. It's using that now to move forward and make sure you perform at those levels week in, week out.
They're in for 3 trophies at the moment. Can you, as well as obviously chasing top 4, can you see that squad and that team going on to possibly win 1, 2 or 3?
Yeah, I've got no doubts. I mean, I think what they do have is, at any given moment, one of those players can produce something magical at the top end of the pitch. And I think obviously it's getting the balance act right, you know. But when you've got if Rashford's not starting, if Lingard's not starting, those boys that are coming in. I mean, you've still got Rooney and those boys to come back in. Valencia was missing today. De Gea still to come in, who's outstanding in the goal. So I think what they've did over the years, they've built up a very good squad of players. Mkhitaryan came in, who I think is outstanding and getting better. So I certainly believe it. As long as they stay injury free, I think that's always the key. I mean, Jones in 1 or 2 was missing with injury. If Manchester United keep a healthy squad, I think there's no doubt they can be in amongst a couple of those trophies, absolutely.
How frustrating was it, Owen, that you matched them for the majority of the game, you scored the better goal of the 3, and both of their goals were just straight balls down the middle of the pitch?
Well, I think there's always, I think there's an element of frustration to your point. Regards straight balls down the middle of the pitch. I mean, I think the first one was a counter-attack from, we've won the header, the keepers took it, and if you watch Manchester United, when the goalkeeper, De Gea Romero, when he picks it up, you have 5, 6, because they know they go with real pace and power. Now, we'd shown that, we're prepared for it, but ultimately if somebody's actually quicker than you, they're quicker than you, and that's what happened. We probably had an opportunity to win the ball in the first third of the field when it was throughout, and I think the boy just nicked it by Liam Feeney, might have been, and by that time Gordon Greer's then dragged over to the wide area, and Rashford had ran 60 yards because he's hungry to score goals. And I've got to say, when players have played in that situation, I've been there myself as a striker, it's not always a goal, but he's got so much composure and quality. He steadies himself. Some people that rush that shot, he's got the composure to pick up, go round the keeper and have a very controlled finish. So the second one, obviously, I think it was Pogba that played the pass, and it'd be fair to Gordon Greer. I mean, he knows that Ibrahimovic is offside with him, but Derek Williams had taken half a yard or half a step back, and Ibrahimovic ends up in line with a fullback, and that's how he's played in. So you're right, when you don't get pressure on the ball, then there's always going to be that chance that somebody can run in behind. And I think they put so much into the game that obviously the game got stretched late on, if we're honest, and Manchester United did pick up some ball and be able to play those passes. Similarly, to be fair, so did we, and with some great chances, as you know, because of that, because the game gets stretched, as it always happens in the second half in any game, and both teams then have a little ding-dong. It was a proper cup tie, wasn't it? And I think that's really what happened. So yeah, there is an element of frustration, and that's something as a group, to your point, I think is a very valid point, that we need to do better at. We have to make sure we're more solidified, try and get those clean sheets. As prior to today, I think Manchester United 5 of them before they came into today's game. So if we can get to that, then we certainly know, as you've seen today, we've got good attacking players that can score goals, and that could certainly give us that platform to go and win games in the Championship, and picking up 3 points as opposed to a 1.
Okay, guys.
Thanks very much, thanks for your time. Cheers, good seeing you, Pete.